Just as this guy prepares to get sworn in, Democrats are rushing right now to get this guy in. His name is Craig Becker. He's a union lawyer. He is the president's nominee to head the National Labor Relations Board. The Senate is set to vote tomorrow, just hours before Scott Brown takes the oath of office for Teddy Kennedy's old seat. The fear is, though, that if Becker gets in, card check is all but in. It would essentially allow unions to bypass secret ballot elections. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce ain't happy. Mark Hemingway on the story. Mark's with the Washington Examiner. Handicap it, Mark. Lay this out. What happens?
Well, it's looking like they're just reporting, like within the last 20 minutes, half an hour, that Scott Brown may be seated tomorrow. So that may have damning consequences for Becker's nomination to the National Labor Relations Board. But basically, what people are worried about here with Becker is that Becker, I mean, aside from the obvious, which is that Becker has been counsel for the AFL-CIO and SEIU for the last several years, it seems like he's awfully cozy with America's biggest unions to be on the National Labor Relations Board and giving a fair shake to businesses. In addition, he wrote a paper in 1993 when he was a law professor at UCLA where he argued and laid out the case for how the National Labor Relations Board could use their authority to do a sweeping overhaul of America's labor laws that in ways that benefit unions dramatically, and with doing this without the approval of Congress.
But a lot of people are upset about that, and it did raise a lot of eyebrows. And I'm thinking, all right, here's a guy who's saying we could abrogate contracts, and then I'm thinking to myself, we already have an administration that routinely abrogates contracts. So what would be so shocking if this guy got in? By the way, the talk is, as you've heard, Mark, he'll be sworn in at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Scott Brown at 5 p.m., and in the interim, you could do a lot of things, right?
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, they already tried that. They already rushed through the nomination of Patricia Smith for Solicitor of Labor, a top lawyer at the Labor Department, earlier this week on a straight party line vote. No Republican voted for her. That was after Republican Senator Mike Enzi of Wyoming produced a damning report that showed that she had the evidence showed that she had lied during her Senate testimony about her role in a program when she was Labor Commissioner in New York that allowed union members to enforce wage and hour laws in New York. I mean, talk about the fox guarding the henhouse.
So your argument has been, look, if you were to read from Massachusetts a couple of weeks ago that unions were on the ropes or that big spending and big favored cushy deals might be on the ropes, do not count these guys out. They're very resourceful, right?
That is exactly right. They know they don't have the votes for card check or anything sweeping in the Congress. Right. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to do everything they can, in a backdoor way to pay back unions before they lose their supermajority, and and make sure that big labor is behind them come November, especially since big labor has been very unhappy with them over the health care bill and some other things.
All right, Mark Hemingway, you were on this before anybody, my friend. My hat's off to you. We're watching it closely. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.